Hey, it's Kevin Dewitt here. Welcome back to the Mixing in a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we're going to talk about the final steps. So firstly, if you are new to my channel and new to my videos and you like what you see, click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So the final steps. So at this stage, hopefully, if you've gone through all of this course and you've gone through and followed along, your song will be pretty much finished. It'll be mixed, as is mine. And now what I want to do is just do the last little final steps, basically, okay? Now, so what are we going to do? So I'm happy, right? Let's say my song is done. I'm ready to get it out there almost. But what I want to do now is just do a final few checks. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to heavily reference my song, okay? Now you may do this a couple of times through the mixing process. You don't have to leave it to the end. You can do it at several stages to make sure that things are sounding good as you go. But let's say, you know, for the sake of this course, we're keeping things fairly linear. We, haven't done any referencing as such, and we've been relying on what we hear in our home music studio, and we're happy with what we've got. So what I'm going to do now is I'll basically bounce that out or whatever, put it on a USB stick, put it on the phone, however you can play it in other sources. Obviously it depends where you are and what you're going to play it on, and I'll take it to other locations, right? So if I've mixed on studio monitors, I'm going to go and listen to it on my studio headphones. I might listen to it on some, earbuds. So some sort of small style, convenient headphones that, are pretty popular. You might listen to it on some other headphones. You might like Beats headphones, right? Let's say for that. You want to go and listen to one on the Beats headphones. I might listen on to a hi-fi in my lounge room. I'll take it out to the car. Taking it out to the car is a definite one to do because a lot of people listen to music out in the car. So it's a great source for checking because, everybody always listens to music in their car and they generally know what sounds good, what sounds good in their car, right? Because they're so used to listening to music in their car, they know what it sounds like, right? I'm talking about yourself, right? So you'll know what sounds good in your car. If you hear a mistake or something that sounds bad in your song, in your car, you're not going to blame the car because other, popular music sounds good in your car. So you're going to know there's something wrong that you need to fix in your mix, right? You may play it on whatever you've got, a Sonos system, anything like that, right? Whatever you can find, and you can do it on multiples, right? Listen to your song, reference it, okay? Take notes, jot down all things that you find errors in each location, right? Now, you're not going to go and fix every single little error from every single thing, right? It's about finding the right balance, right? Because you can, it's pretty much impossible to make your song sound absolutely perfect on every system, right? Because each one of those items themselves all have flaws in themselves, right? AirPods have flaws. Beats headphones have flaws. Your hi-fi system has flaws, right? A Sonos system has flaws. So it's all about trying to make your song sound fairly good across all of those. And, if you're a DJ, you may want to play it on your DJ system as well, whatever. Take it to a club, try it out. I don't know, it all depends on what your target is, what you're mixing for and all that sort of stuff, right? So take notes and look at them. See if there's anything that's consistent with them all. If you represent that, it's too, it's too high, it's too bright on every single one of those platforms. Well then, that's pretty consistent. You need to, make your song less bright. Or if it's too dull, same thing. Too much bass, not enough bass, all of that. Take them all in and then come back and make some adjustments and then go and reference again. Come back, make some more adjustments over and over and over and over again, right? You might go through 10 different versions doing that. Sometimes I might question one thing, right? Let's say there's something that I don't like in my song, I'm not sure what it is, and I just want to go a little bit further with it. So you know, I might do 3 or 4 versions at the same time and take them all out to my car and check them and pick the one that I like the best, right? So that's what I want to do in this step here, okay? So we want to do that. So then once we're happy with that, right? So we've referenced it, we're fully ready, we think this is it, right? I'm done, I'm over. So and now I'm going to come back in and I'm just going to double check my final gain staging there. I'm just going to check out my last little bits of bus processing and all that sort of stuff. Make sure that I didn't accidentally blast out the main output of the mix bus or anything like that. Just to, you know, make sure the gain staging is still looking good. Our last little bits of final processing are good, and you know, we're still happy with it. Making sure that we don't obviously stuff any of the balances up or anything like that, because we've just gone to all the trouble to make sure it's all good. So we want to make sure that's right. So we just want to make sure that our last bit of gain staging is still good. I've also had instances here when it comes to this and the referencing and that, where I'll actually put the song away for a week or a couple of weeks and I'll come back with totally fresh ears and I'll have another listen. And sometimes that has actually, you know, made me realize there's some fundamental problems with what I did. You know, because sometimes you can get too close to a mix and your ears and your mind adjusts to suit it. And having that break of, you know, days, weeks, whatever, can really let something shine through. So that's another, if you've got the time, that's another thought to do. Obviously, if you're working on clients' music, so that's not always appropriate. You might be able to wait a day or something like that, or overnight, you know, sleep on it, come back the next morning and double check. Yeah, probably not going to be too happy if they wait weeks, but if it's your own music, obviously time can be a little bit more convenient, so you can wait. So that's something I would definitely check as well. All right, so what I'm going to do, obviously I can't show you me referencing and that sort of stuff, but we'll go and have a look at some of the tweaks that I may have done, and we'll talk through that and show you the last little gain staging checks and just the last little final steps on my song. All right, so right now we're pretty happy with the song. We just need to do a last sort of couple of final little steps here. Now, again, we're going to compare to our previous mixes here, so we might jump around. So let's just do that. But even if you wanted to listen to the original, prefer to go with this one because it's better in time. It's actually matched up. Just a slight difference, I think. don't know if you agree, but I think it's a damn sight better than it was originally, which, you know, that's obvious. That was a rough mix. No effects, no nothing, right? Very rough. All right, so we've got that, right? I'm happy with that. It's all sounding good. Now, the other thing we obviously can do here is start to do some, which, you know, I've already previously done, not in the videos, but off. You know, find your favorite song that sort of matches your style, genre, all of that, so that you're comparing sort of like apples to apples, and then compare, right? So, you know, in the case of mine here, if I turn this on, I won't switch it over to the other music because, yeah, copyright reasons, but we might want to compare parts of it. Now, hang on, let me just see where we are. So, you know, wherever you want to compare. Now, we're not comparing loudness, and that's one thing I like about this tool, because this tool here has a match volume, so it will drop, because these are mastered songs, right? Any fully released song that you get from the charts or whatever, off CDs, records, iTunes, wherever you get your stuff from, it's mastered, right? It's going to be way louder, right? We haven't mastered this. This is just mixing. So this tool is great because it does volume match. But if you just drag your song in here, that's fine. Just drag the audio down, the volume of it to match, so that when you switch between the two, you get a very even level, because we're not actually comparing level, right? So these tabs here with like loudness, dynamics, we probably wouldn't bother in this tool. That's assuming you have this tool, right? This is not a Steinberg tool, so I'm not focusing on this. It's just a concept here. But, you know, we've got the waveform. Right, so in this tool, we can compare the frequency spectrum. And I mean, with this tool here, I could even switch to just listening to individual parts, like individual frequency spectrums, and comparing them between the two tracks. Right, and it's got different views. We can have the single, layered, we can even go for a dual just to sort of visually see. All right, you can see that one there drops off. Could be that it drops off because it's an MP3. It's very renowned for MP3s to just drop off suddenly at the top end. That's one of the parts of the frequency spectrum they sort of cut out to save space on an MP3. Ours obviously continues on. But you'll be able to see if there's any major differences between these from a frequency spectrum point of view. Now, they don't have to match exactly, right? This is about, you want to be listening for a start. You check correlation, stereo, right? Again, it's not about this tool. It's about comparing what you want to, you know, one to the other. Now, you could not do exactly the same, but you could do a similar thing if you had your song in here. You could possibly switch between the graphic EQ visualization in Cubase to, so for instance, if I not look at that, but if I was to say, look at the actual mix bus. So we could look at the, no, not the mix bus, because it's not going to come out there. We want to look at our actual output. So if I was switching between the two here, I could visually have a look there. It's just a pity it drops behind, but you could have a look at your reference and compare. Now, you may have other tools to do that as well. Now, an example, again, not a Steinberg tool, but let me just give you another example that I have used before is Ozone. Used to be in their EQ tool. Now they've separated it to a match EQ tool. And with this one here, we can actually capture our reference. So, can't really show you. Can I? No. Hang on. So we'll just pretend like we're switching between our reference and our mix. But what you would do with this one. Okay, they're meant to be muted. Sorry. Okay, we have lost everything. Here we go. So you would play your reference track through this plugin. You would capture the waveform here, the frequency spectrum, take an average over the period of time you're doing it. And then what you would do is you would then, let's just find another spot so it's obviously different. You would then switch to your track, play it, and capture that. So I just picked a different part of the song to see if we could get it to actually come up slightly different. Okay, now this tool here is actually meant to be that you do the corrective, right? So this, you'll see this flat waveform here actually is attempting to try and correct the EQ on yours to match. Now, I don't actually use it for that, but I will use it to just do this visual capture so I can have a look. Now, most of the time I'm using my ears all the time, but sometimes you just trying to check something, you hear something different, you quite can't pick it out. And sometimes this little visualization here, you know, you might say, okay, I'm hearing something missing, or mine sounds a bit too bright. Where's it going? Or it's a bit too dull. And you might say here, okay, well, there's something lacking here because the line's a lot lower than the reference. So I need to do some sort of boost in this, 3 to 10K, for instance. And then if you had this tool, you could use this tool to do that, or you could just manually then go into your, say, the final mix bus here, and we could pull up, you could either pull up an EQ or you could just do it straight in this EQ here. And I could just go, okay, well, I'm going to go do a wide curve, and I'm just going to do a bit of a boost, and it might be a subtle boost, say there, right? So yeah, I just need that brighter. So you can use that tool to do that, but obviously use your ears, because we're not here about actually matching frequency spectrums. We're about making sure that what we do is right, but sometimes these tools can be handy to assist with that process. Some people say it's cheating. I say do whatever gets you the best results. To me, there's no cheating. These tools are available for a reason. Why not use them if they work, right? But the reason I don't necessarily use the tool to do the corrective is because I haven't got to the confidence of trusting the tool to do that, right? And you can see here you've got like smoothing options, or you can go very like precise that it's going to try and match exactly, and even amount. It'd be like, that's what it's got to do to get it to be exactly the same, which is impossible to do because the frequency spectrum moves, it fluctuates, instruments come in and out. So, that's why they have these subtle changes here where they smooth it out and they do just a little bit of adjustment to do it. So, you could use the tool, like I said, but I just don't. I use it as a guide, and then I go and do my own EQ settings to make changes, and I listen and I make it sound the way I want it to sound comparatively. And I'll try them. Sometimes I'll try it and I'll go, nah, that's wrong. It doesn't need that boost there. It doesn't need that cut there, whatever. Okay, so you can use tools like that. Or as I said, just manually use your ears, flick between them. It's one brighter than the other. It's one bassy than the other. It's one more MIDI than the other. Just have a listen between the two tracks, get them to sound like, if you had them on an album side by side, could they actually compare to each other? All right, and once we've done that, then my very last final step that I like to do is just a final gain stage, okay? And this depends on, you don't have to do this. It all depends on, you know, what you've done and everything else. But I will come in here, and it's going to be a little bit harder with the automation. But I'll just see where things are sitting, right? But I'll actually go to the chorus there and do it. So what you could do is, let's say you have an analog style emulator on here, and over time you've adjusted levels and you're not happy, it's not hitting it hard enough, or it's hitting it too hard and distorting. Then what you could do is go and turn down all the tracks, adjust the volume of this so it's brings it up, and, you know, gain stage these last levels. I'm actually happy with it. I know they're sitting low down here, but that's just because, I mean, you need to really see, and I don't know, can you do it on this one? Yeah, you really need to see the input on this. And it's sitting in a pretty good spot. We've then got it turned down because obviously we want to retain our mix levels, right? We don't want the keys up really loud. We want them at this spot. So you could compare inputs. I mean, that's where having a VU meter on the actual inserts can help, because you can see the input. But like I said, you can just do what I did here, where you just switch over to the input. So for instance here, it doesn't matter what level we have that at. If we had a post input, we can see what level that is. Right? And in this case here, you might say, oh, is that a bit too hot? Maybe we could just drop that down a bit. I want it a little bit lower. Going into our mix bus, so I'm just going to pick all of those. We're going to do the quick link, or as in my case here, you can activate quick link holding Shift and Alt at the same time. And then I'll just grab all of the bus faders, just turn them down a bit. So we're not hitting that so much. Okay, we could check our compressors still doing what we think we want it to do. Not too much compression. Tape, I mean, you could decide whether you want to push the tape harder. I'm actually liking the sound of this, so I'm not going to do that. And we can return the fader. Now, I've had this turned down most of the time just for my sanity here while I'm talking, because, you know, trying to talk over the top of the music a lot of the time. But we could put that back to 0. And, you know, for a mix, you might say that's still too loud. Let's drop it down even more. So just something to watch out for. If you've got automation on your bus, don't do what I did, because it won't pull the automation. Like, the automation will lock it, and these two tracks here will not change in volume. So you'll have turned the volume down on all of these, but not that two there. So what I would probably do in that case, in regards to here, because we're not clipping this, I just want a little bit more headroom when we go into mastering. So we might just pull down our master mix fader here, just to make it lower in volume. So our main output's a bit lower. We might go there. And then we're going into mastering at a lower level. They've got a lot more room to move. We're not, and you know, we're not hitting a limiter or anything like that. We're not crushing this compressor that we need to turn all these down or that sort of thing. So it all depends how you want to do your gain staging, but that's what I would do. So there you go. That's what I did in the final steps of my song. You know, let me know what you think of this whole, you know, final steps, etc. in the comments. If you have any questions or anything like that, do put them in the comments. I read all the comments and I'll answer as many of the questions as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, so that you can get as much out of this course as possible. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.